There will be many things in this podcast. One of them will be offensive language. Another one of those things will be spoilers. The episode description will have a handy little index with timestamps of relevant topics. Dave!
Carlos.
This is Two Fat Guys Talk, episode 85.
I think I still like year 2, episode 1.
Year 2, episode 85. Dave, I was like, hey, we should do a podcast this weekend. And you're like, well, you want to cover some topics? I'm like, yeah, of course. So here we are, and we're definitely going to cover some topics. And I think the big one on everyone's mind right now, because it's coming up real damn soon here, is the Electronic Entertainment Expo, which is a mere couple weeks away.
Yeah. I guess the first question everybody's pretty much asking themselves is this thing even still relevant?
I think we ask that every year.
And it's becoming more and more obvious that E3 is becoming less and less relevant. It used to be that E3 was the only show where reveals were done.
Mm-hmm. Tune in after E3 for all of our coverage of it.
Thanks. Thanks.
I'm just saying, it's getting less and less relevant. We're still dancing to its beat every year, but...
Well, it's just... I mean, Japan has always had their own shows where they reveal their own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, frankly, we get a lot more game reveals there for a number of the systems that we do even at our own E3.
But here we get hardware reveals with such things like new TV functionality. And, hey, who wants to buy another Xbone and another PlayStation 4?
Let's jump right into those.
Greetings, folks. Carlos here. I think we forgot to mention that these PlayStation 4.5 and Xbox 1.5 things are still alleged and rumors. And there's no proof yet that they're going to happen. And I'm not sure why, but we were kind of operating under the impression that it was, or that the fact that it was a rumor was known on the podcast. So my apologies for that. But, you can still enjoy us ranting about why it's a bad idea, if true.
So, as we all know, VR is garbage and the passing fad.
Oh,
and
shut
it
up.
has ruined everyone's life. And part of it ruining everyone's life is that, of course, Sony and Microsoft want to jump on this bandwagon that's going to go fucking nowhere. And because of that, they need to up the hardware performance of their flagship machines, which means that we are basically getting that PlayStation 4.5 that was rumored and another interim Xbox, which should make all the old hardware we already have obsolete. It's not like you can just plug in an expansion slot like the old ColecoVision and play Atari 2600 games. That would be handy. Even the N64 lets you expand its RAM with a little out-of-sight upgrade.
Yeah, I do not like either company doing it. I do find it hilarious, though, that the moment that Sony said they were doing the 4.5, that Microsoft was all like, oh no, we're not going to do that. That's stupid.
Hey, you know what we're totally going to do now?
Yeah. Well, I find it funny that we're getting 2 new revisions from Microsoft. We're getting the Xbone Slim
Mm-hmm.
for the end of the year, and sometime next year, we're getting the Xbone Enhanced.
Now, a slim version of an old piece of hardware, that's fine, because those don't typically have any kind of upgraded functionality. However, it's the one that's clearly the 0.5 that's got my goat. Like, say what you will about the Sega 32X, but at least it was an add-on. And that's what this feels like. This feels like, hey, no one's ever done this before and fucked it up royal, right? Right? Sega Genesis would like a word with you. What's that company that's no longer making consoles? Is it Sega?
I don't know. The way Nintendo's going, it might be Nintendo.
Yeah, but at least they're not releasing a Wii U 2.
That was the Wii U.
No, the Wii U was its own separate system. It was not
It was two Wiis slapped together.
It was not two Wiis slapped together. First of all, nobody can prove that that's two Wiis and duct tape. Secondly, it was its own separate console. It wasn't just it's the Wii, but you need it for better Wii games. This is not a new 3DS here.
I don't know. That pretty much defines the Wii U. It was a Wii that had a little bit better of a specs that you had to use to play Wii U games.
It was. Let's be real. It was a Wii with just a way, way better library that nobody liked because Nintendo fanboys are stupid. But I mean, what this is more like, what Sony and Microsoft are doing, this is more like the new 3DS. Now I have a new 3DS. It's great. It's great, actually. But I mean, the fact is that, I waited on it because I heard the rumors about it. But if I had bought, like, I had an old model 3DS, but I mean, if I had bought the 3DS Jumbo or whatever, right before this thing got announced, the XL, I would have been fucking furious.
Gee, you mean me?
Yeah, that's exactly what you did.
I bought the Zelda themed one. Because it looked cool, and I wanted that fucking game. And you know what I haven't bought? The new 3DS. Because, here's the thing. One game requires it. Sorry, two. There's only been 2 games that require the damn thing, and emulation.
It's also has way better 3D.
And I don't really care. That
does count for something, because arguably the new 3DS realizes the promise of the 3DS originally. And that promise was 3D without glasses, which thanks to the camera tracking your head, the new 3DS just does really, really, really well.
And here's the thing. I can appreciate the 3D that the 3DS does. I can. Doesn't matter whether you're talking the old one or the new one. For Zelda, I had it turned on. For most other games, I had it turned off.
Sure. I was also going to hype the awesome Lenovo ThinkPad style analog stick, and then I was going to break out into laughter.
Yeah. Just good reference, though.
It's a Lenovo ThinkPad thumbstick. Surprisingly good if you're using a shitty Lenovo laptop. Not so great for games.
Yeah, no. The fact you need that to play Xenoblade Chronicles, kind of a piss off, but I'm willing to play my old Wii version over getting a new 3DS.
Sure. I'm not sure how many people would fault you for that either. But this is what Sony and Microsoft are doing. They're making a new 3DS.
Yes, in the way that they're screwing us. Absolutely. I still think that we're going to see a trade-in program from companies like EB Games / GameStop.
Oh, maybe. I want to see what games are exclusive to it before I start rushing to trade in, because I play my PS4 frequently enough, but nowhere near frequently enough to trade up for one game. Well, that would have to be a killer game. Watch it be Gravity Rush 2.
It won't be. However, I was talking with my roommate at one point, and how much would Sony... Like, if Sony wanted to... I don't know, basically eliminate Microsoft, I would have been working on... Like, I would have had a release of the new PS 4.5 at the exact same time I released Final Fantasy 15, and had a... whatever the hell they call their version, Oculus or whatever it is, have the only one that has a VR functionality to it be the PlayStation. If they had released that at that time, Microsoft would have been... None of the Final Fantasy fanboys would have bought an Xbox version of that game. The 4.5 would have flew off the shelves, guaranteed, especially if you had a combo set. You could have sold that thing at like $800 or $900 and fanboys would have bought it.
Yeah, because VR is horrible, and it's the next motion controls.
Here's the thing. VR doesn't have to be horrible. It doesn't have to be. I've actually now Angry Joe a while back reviewed a PC VR game. And I've actually had the opportunity to try it now. And yes, when you look at his video, the graphics don't look so great because you're looking on the 2D plane. But in the game, it was actually kind of neat. And we just watched Team 4-Star play Spooky's.
It's the game used to be called Spooky's House of Jump Scares because of a bullshit copyright cease and desist order from some European company. They had to rename the game to Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion.
Okay. A game like that, using VR goggles, might just increase that scare factor a whole bunch. That's what this game did well. VR doesn't have to be the next motion control bullshit. It can be something great. Like, could you imagine playing a TIE Fighter or an X-Wing game with VR goggles where as you pan your head around, you're actually seeing the inside of the cockpit and the space around you? A Mech Warrior game, etc. Like, it doesn't have to be the next Wii. It doesn't have to be. We all want, the holodeck as the next jump. Well, we're not there yet. But it doesn't mean that VR has to be the next bullshit. I'm more than willing to give them the benefit of the doubt right now. Yes, it sucks that we might have to buy some new hardware. It does. I'm not even sure my supercomputer is up to the task of using the PC VR.
I like how you have the ego to call it a supercomputer.
Yes, absolutely. But let's give them a little bit of benefit of the doubt. Like, they're not trying to say every game's going to be VR. In fact, Sony's come back and said, look, we want a lot of our games to be VR, but it's got to run normally.
I have zero problem with people who want to experience gaming through VR, just like I have zero problem with people who want to play games that are predominantly motion controlled, just as I have zero problem with people who want to play on their Virtual Boys. That came out wrong. But my main issue is that I don't want it, and I don't want it so hard. And just like how the Wii had a whole bunch of awesome games ruined by forced necessitation of the Wii Remote Nunchuck combo, like the second Tales of Symphonia game, which had no business using it, the Metroid Prime 3 and Trilogy, which could have had non-Wii Remote options, and not having a game that desperately needed to be on the Wii actually on it, Kid Icarus Uprising, instead shoehorning it onto the 3DS where it had no business existing. That would have been a great game to play on a Wii Remote, just how like the Mario Galaxies were great to play on that.
Not gonna argue that.
My point, I'm rambling here, is that eventually they're going to release an awesome looking game and it's going to be VR only, and I'm going to hate life and ramble about how VR is destroying lives and how medical studies have shown that when you play VR, you're more likely to be some kind of some kind of variant of Hitler. Like, it's just this is how terrible a person I am. I was going to say some kind of child molester, and I was getting on your case earlier because I'm a giant hypocrite and I totally do the same kind of fucking humor.
Like, I get it. As long as games have the ability to play in a non-VR setting, fine.
Yeah. If it's an option, I got no grievance.
I mean, even Sony's come out, even though, keep in mind, I don't believe them on this, but they've claimed that they don't want the 4.5 to split the user base, and that the VR games still have to be able to run off of the old hardware, even if it is a little bit slower.
It's... I still wish we were in the days where you could just plug an add-on into your console.
I honestly don't believe them. I don't. Because the fact is, if load times are longer, okay, that sucks, but it's gonna hurt the frame rate. It's going to hurt the game. You are splitting your user base by doing this, no matter what you say.
I kind of wish modern consoles still had like an expansion slot or something.
Yes.
Like, so I can throw in an 80-column text card into my PlayStation 4 and make it worse. But I mean, again, the best example I can think of is the N64. For all its problems, it had a RAM expansion, and the RAM
which became mandatory.
It did, but it's the slot for it is easily accessible. You plop it in, you close the hatch, you don't even know it's there because it's not unsightly at all.
Mm-hmm.
Bam, your N64 is permanently more capable with this small little upgrade. And I just kind of wish that the PlayStation 4 and the Xbone had this. That if there's a little slot that you could go, okay, you could buy a new model PlayStation 4, but here's the upgrade kit to turn your old one into it.
Yeah, and that would have taken some foresight. I honestly believe that when Microsoft and Sony started with this new console generation, they thought their systems could pull it off.
Well, I mean, the last generation had lasted, a decade? So I'm not sure I blame them.
Well, I honestly believe that they went into a boardroom and was talking to a bunch of the VR programmers. They're like, okay, what specs do you need to pull this off? And they gave them specs. And as it's shown from this console generation, Sony kind of came out ahead on console specs and how their games have looked and reacted to the games. They've always had the better version so far in multi-console or multi-platform games. But somebody told them that, yeah, no problem, the Oculus will run off of these specs. Since then, they've realized, oh wait, shit, I need to be able to do how many frames on both sides? Oh crap, we need a little bit better of spec. I mean, look at what Microsoft has done to try and bring their games up to Sony's level. They've unlocked a whole bunch of the background processing power of their console that was locked to the whole, oh look, you can watch a movie and a TV show and play a game at the same time and seamlessly flip back and forth between them. Gee, I wonder if our games might need that processing power somewhere down, oh yeah, they did. And they still weren't as good. So, it doesn't surprise me that we're at this point where they need better processing power for VR games. But maybe this shouldn't be a 4.5. Maybe this should be a PlayStation VR.
And you know what? Maybe that is a good idea, to have a separate VR system for that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the Vita's dead, so this can be your next portable, like the Virtual Boy, but not garbage. I was going to say that if Microsoft really wanted to bury Sony, it would just go buy Nintendo.
Well,
that would do it right quick. Like, that would at the very least immediately give them a foothold in Japan and probably give them the advantage for the foreseeable future. Do we have more to discuss in terms of the 4.5s? Because I just thought of another topic when we eventually are.
Well, I mean, yeah, we've got the 4.5, we got the Xbone 0.5.
I hope they call it the Xbox One 360.
That would be amusing.
Or they should call it the Xbox Original.
Ooh, nice.
Which Xbox? The original. Oh, the add-on? No, the original. Pardon?
That would be almost as confusing as frickin' Nintendo's. Yeah, I need the new 3DS. Oh, the 3DS XL. No, the new 3DS. Or the Wii U. Branding. How it can really mess you up.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah, it sucks that we'll be getting new versions. I really do hope that... I know Sony and Microsoft won't step up and say, look, here's a trade-in program. It'll be, it'll be EB Games that will do it. They did it for the new 3DS. They did it through the 3DS XL. So I have no doubt that they'll do it for...
But I don't want to deal with EB Games.
I know. How weird is it that they're... If they do that, they'll be the lesser of the evils.
Yeah, they'll somehow be seen as significantly less evil. Speaking of significantly less evil, this isn't the topic I was going to bring up now, but I kind of want your input on it.
Okay.
How much do you know about the Hulk Hogan Gawker case?
Oh, God, do we have to?
No, not at all. No, scratch that from the record.
No,
okay,
no. It's been brought up. Let's run with this.
I think this is a story where every side is shitty, but Gawker is slightly less shitty.
You're talking about the fact that the court case was basically financed by a billionaire jackass.
Who was outed as gay by Gawker.
Yeah.
Which is so wrong. And posting a sex tape of Hulk Hogan, which is so wrong. And no surprise, Gawker is a whole bunch of sites, including Kotaku, which I've hated forever. And
you know, I that's one of the few sites I check at work, more for some of the politics that's going on.
Sure, I mean, look, I am no Gamergater, and I absolutely hate the movement, but I also have hated Kotaku long before shitty Gamergate decided that they wanted to be the worst group of men on the internet, other than MRAs, which there's a lot of overlap. But I've hated Kotaku forever, and Gawker is Kotaku, and a whole bunch of other sites that are just really shitty, really highly unethical reporters. They're basically like internet tabloids with no care for others.
That's very accurate.
And some of the worst written stories and opinion pieces I've ever seen on gaming, period, have come from Kotaku. So I am all for Gawker being forced out of business by a killer lawsuit by a person they posted a sex tape of without their consent, and another person who they outed as gay. On the other hand, there's a really big concern here because these two people who are suing them and winning are really rich people. Well, okay, in Hulk Hogan's case, formerly rich and now cleaning up the bank. One of them is a horrible racist, Hulk Hogan, and the other has like 2-point-something billion in net worth and has hands in Facebook and PayPal and crowdfunding. And it is a little alarming to know that they can throw their influence around like this to affect media, which is what makes them a little more evil. But I can't say I'm unhappy that Gawker's potentially going out of business over this, because fuck them. This is truly a story where there's no good side. They're all evil pricks, all of them. And just hearing about all the terrible things they've all done is just...
Yeah, I read about a lot of that when it came to a head this week. And when they ran the story that, you know, they had lost the case against Hulk Hogan, I was like, good. Mm-hmm. Good. You guys deserve to lose that case.
Racist or not, I like Hulk Hogan more than I like Gawker.
But the fact that it's that billionaire going after them for that.
Peter Thiel, is that his name?
Maybe.
I think that's right.
Is also kind of bad. It just there's no good side.
It's just an awful situation. Speaking of a situation that people are saying are awful, and I kind of disagree with them, this may require you to bring up something on the net, because I don't know if you've seen this yet. Have you seen the design for Mega Man in the upcoming animated series? Do you want to talk a little bit about that design?
We can.
Sure. What do you think of that design?
I'm indifferent.
Okay. Is there anything you like or dislike about it?
Well, let me just start with why I'm indifferent.
Okay.
Too little, too late. I mean, this is the 30th anniversary of Mega Man. Capcom has basically ignored their license for so long that others are starting to do Mega Man games better than they ever could. Mm-hmm. It just... I guess part of the reason why I'm indifferent to it is not just the length of time it's taken them to do anything with the license, but I read that this is intended for kids 5 to 9. Now, this isn't
Steven Universe is intended for
this
kids.
isn't a Steven Universe kind of thing. I honestly believe when they say 5 to 9 that this is not going. It's Capcom. It's not going to have intelligent writing. It's not going to have.
It's a little more complicated than that.
In Capcom's,
It's because it's not really Capcom. It's Man of Action. They did Ben 10 and that one Fantastic Four cartoon that was okay, but definitely the best thing with the Fantastic Four in it.
okay. Well, you obviously have more information than I do. As far as the design goes, okay. I sure.
Well, let's talk about Man of Action for a second. Ben 10 was a show that was very similar in my mind for its first couple seasons and the beginning of the third. It was very similar to Teen Titans in that there were 4 to 5 really awesome storyline driving episodes in every season, and they would focus on different characters to boot, which is nice. And the rest of the 12 or 13 episode season was just filler. Eventually Ben 10 seasons just kind of went off the rails. I didn't like the direction they went, but that's kind of the same formula Ben 10 used. Especially the first 2 seasons had some wicked episodes. And this is the entire Ben 10 franchise is intended for children. But there are some wicked episodes. Like, there's an episode in the first season of Ben 10 where they showed you the effects of Ben being an awful person and doing awful things and then having a comeuppance and needing to make amends for it. Like, and there's some really solid writing in those first 2 episodes. Like, there's a friend of the show I talk to often about comics and about versus matches and whatnot, and he and I can have long drawn out convos about how good Ben 10 used to be. And Man of Action, they know how they know how to piece together a good show, because that Fantastic Four cartoon they made, it wasn't stellar, but it was better than any other Fantastic Four TV show ever made, and probably better than the movies. And
all I'm hearing is these are basically just platinum animators that can get things right but get things really wrong.
Well, Man of Action, and maybe their name tells you the story, they definitely have a formula for successful storytelling. They stick to the formula. And the formula tends to be, like the general hero's journey formula. Reluctant hero eventually answers the call, learns lesson, gains resources, wins out in the day, and goes through certain harsh lessons about their own morality and mortality and whatnot. It's a good formula. Good shows follow. So Man of Action doing a Mega Man cartoon, when I heard it was Man of Action, I was like, that's probably a really good fit. And the Archie Mega Man comic has actually been super good. Every time my brother shows me an issue to read, it's great. And it's super solid storytelling. The artwork is fantastic. It's like a cool take on the game's story, and it's really, really good.
But that right there, though, Archie, as much as I fell out of love with Archie comics a long time ago, starring Archie in the game.
The Archie Sonic is what you're going to talk about?
The guys behind the Archie franchise of comics, like Sonic, like Mega Man, etc., they have some damn good writers and some damn fine artists.
Yeah.
So hearing that the Mega Man Archie comic is good doesn't surprise me, because again, they're basically handed those licenses with very little input from Sega in the case of Sonic, and I'm guessing Capcom in the case of Mega Man. I remember reading an article one time, an interview with one of the actual writers, and the amount of feedback / input they get into their comics is almost nil.
I know for Sonic it's increased a bit because they wanted to tie it more towards the games a bit.
Yeah.
Other than Sally and Bunny and Antoine, there aren't too many original characters anymore. A lot of the main characters in Sonic comics were from the games.
Well, but that makes a little bit more sense, because it started with a completely different premise than the games.
For sure.
And honestly, I think that's why the comics were doing better than the games for a long time.
Hey, there's a lot about the Sonic comics I like. There's a lot about them I like.
Yeah.
There's even a lot about the Saturday morning show that I liked.
I still go back and watch that once a year.
I wish Tails was more prominent in it, and there was a lot of filler in that too.
Oh, definitely.
If those two things were addressed, that would be one of my favorite shows. But I'm also a Tails mark. I want Tails to be important.
Well, and he was being made more important in the Saturday morning cartoon. If that had gone on another season, that could have been stellar. You said there was a lot of filler in there, yet at that time, Sonic didn't really have a storyline.
No.
So the quote-unquote filler, I mean, it really wasn't filler. It was, let's tell you about this universe.
Now, I just want to make clear that I would not want, in a time machine, warping time to make the show the way I wanted it to. I would not, by any means, reduce Sally Acorn's importance. Because Sally's a great character, and she was great in that show. I simply would tone down everyone else, and I would make the show mainly about Sonic, Tails, and Sally.
Yeah. See,
and that's
disagree.
but that's where the comics went. Like, there are some good runs where Sonic and Tails basically became the Freedom Fighters' main duo.
Mm-hmm.
There was even a storyline where they were at odds with each other and were fighting, and it got interrupted before we could see who would win, and we all know who'd win that fight. But I mean, it's still, though, it would have been a cool dynamic to see. But we're getting a little off topic, which is the Mega Man design. I saw the new Mega Man design, and immediately I knew that I was going to see people harping about it and how their childhood was ruined. And of course, that's what happened.
The moment I hear that line, I stopped listening to people.
Now, here's the thing about that new design. I completely understand that people are worried about Mega Man. And I don't need to say anything more than that. That said, people are over-fucking reacting to this design.
Like always.
It has elements of original Mega Man and X and Mega Man EXE in it. And overall kind of looks like Ben 10 Mega Man. Even the art style, it looks like if Mega Man was in Ben 10 or if Ben 10 had a Mega Man transformation. That's exactly what it looks like. Also, it's not necessarily flawed. Nothing about its style is necessarily bad. It looks a little different from Mega Man, for sure. But also people are judging it in a fucking vacuum. We have no idea what anybody else in that show looks like, what the world of the show looks like. It's entirely possible that in motion, this model looks amazing.
It actually looks kind of inspired by Tron.
There's a little Tron in it. There is a little Tron in it. And honestly, that's not a bad influence for Mega Man, to be frank. That's what the entire Mega Man.exe franchise,
exactly,
Mega Man Battle Network, is based off of Tron, basically,
exactly.
right?
Here's the thing. Everybody's going to jump on it until the first episode is out. And then, based on the first episode, is how it will continue. It's just, are their fears possibly validated by the first episode? Maybe. But we're months away from the first episode, so shut up and let's wait.
I think people are overreacting to it. I was just kind of...
always do.
I was curious about your input just because, like, you know, you like Mega Man as well. He's had a lot of different designs over the years, and I know X and the other Mega Man designs are not technically the same character, but they're definitely the same evolution of design, right?
Like, I get why Capcom's doing this. I think it's a bad move. But Capcom is trying to make Mega Man relevant again by releasing a new show. And trying to bring, new blood to the series. I understand that approach by Capcom, but Capcom has to realize that Mega Man has lived and died based on their long-time audience, or their long-term audience, if you will. You can always try and bring in new blood, but is it the right way to go to introduce a new show with a new Mega Man? I just rather see them actually continue either Mega Man or X's story. Let's finish it. I mean, give us the Mega Man Final, which bridges Mega Man and X.
I don't want that to happen. I don't ever...
You don't want it to happen because you don't want to be sad.
That, and I just don't want it to happen, period. I want it to be a separate timeline thing. I want it to be that Mega Man X has Mega Man in its past, but that regular Mega Man has nothing in its future and it can continue the way it wants. Because I don't want that bridge. I want the story to stay open so that any new game can just add on to it. That said, I would like to see Capcom talk to Way Forward due to a Mega Man 11 and what they did to DuckTales Remastered. I realize that there's a lot of really idiotic voices out there who are like, man, the new DuckTales sucked because remember a cutscene, remember 2 buttons to skip it, remember it looks too good. And
yet its sales numbers makes them immediately ignored.
I realize that, but at the same time, Capcom does employ people who aren't not just number crunchers or programmers. They have Peter Rojas, Combo Fiend, as one of their Street Fighter consultants and media people. Mm-hmm. And he not only promotes Street Fighter, he actually tests and puts input into it and gets voices from our side of the pond into the design process. So Capcom has gone to great lengths to include voices from people that are not just, they include not entirely based off of profit. And that there are enough dissenting voices about DuckTales Remastered that more than one of them have probably reached Capcom's ears, and they might be wary of having Way Forward do a Mega Man 11 that looks amazing and maybe plays amazing too, that's gonna get just shat on by the Mike Mateys of the world who hate that there could possibly be a skippable cutscene in a fucking game. It's infuriating. But that's what I would like to see. I'd love to see a Way Forward Mega Man 11. Or X9.
We'll also wait to see how the new Shantae game does. Because let's face it, Shantae takes a bunch from Mega Man.
It takes some from Mega Man. I'd argue it's a little more influenced by Metroidvanias.
Okay, yeah.
There are Mega Man elements, though. You're right.
I mean, side-scrollers are becoming popular again.
Sure.
And Shantae kickstarted with a great deal of money.
And that last Shantae game, really solid game. Lots and lots of Yuri undertones in it that I super appreciated. It's also a great game on top of that. On top of it. Oh, man. Yeah, new Mega Man design. Wait and see. Don't overreact. It's not the end of the fucking world. It's not box art Mega Man, who I love.
Yeah, you're alone in that with this group.
Fucking great design. Great design.
Disgusting. So, speaking of E3, let's go back to that. What do you want to see?
Microsoft bought Nintendo.
That's not going to happen.
Dave? You asked me what I wanted to see.
Okay, I'll be quiet.
Thank you. You can input. Just don't let your input be nope, nope, nope. Well, thanks, jackass. I'm glad one of us knows how a wish list works.
Nope, 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 nope.
So, Microsoft to buy Nintendo. More than just Zelda on the show floor to be played. I hate you so much. For those of you who can't see, Dave's just being a real jackass.
Sorry, 2 thumbs down.
This is a real jackass. We're going to see more on Final Fantasy 15 for sure. We're probably going to see more on... Will you stop thumb-upping and downing my shit? We're definitely going to see more on the FF7 remake. Absolutely. I'm going to punch you so fierce. I'll fucking deck you in the face.
Do you think FF7 will be out this year?
No.
The first?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. Final Fantasy 15 is what they're hinging a lot of their hopes on. It's been their game that's been in development for, 8 years?
Almost as long as Duke Nukem Forever.
Almost as long, and it started life as a side story for another game and then found its own identity and became a mainline entry. And honestly, I saw the video presentation IGN put out with the various devs of FF15 and how they drew inspiration from various old games in the series, including 6, which I always like to see, and how this is really their like, it's 15 that will make or break them. And if 15 does well enough, then they'll be able to put 7 out and perhaps gain more financial traction to make up for the mistakes of the past 13. We will definitely see more on those two, and I hope we do, because I want to see more on those two, especially 15. Especially 15. I want to see more on I Am Setsuna. That Chrono Trigger that Square's making. And I hope that it's good. That's my only real wish about that one, is that I hope it's good. But in terms of really wacky wishlisty stuff, yeah, Microsoft bought Nintendo. Microsoft's abandoning the VR garbage because they're just buying Nintendo as their ace in the hole. And we see Nintendo properties being showed off on the Xbox One, because that'll be a deal maker for buying that thing. That would be my one weird off the wall wishlisty thing, along with a Final Fantasy VI remake by a competent company, which I always put on my wish list and never have come true. Dave, do a bizarre wish list item.
Kingdom Hearts 3 releases this year.
That's ambitious.
And
I was kind of hoping for something along the lines of Mortal Kombat versus My Little Pony or something.
Nah. Well, if you want to go with off the wall stuff, Nintendo announces full Wii U / NX ports of fuck.
Full ports of fuck. You want full-on porn games.
on Nintendo. Sure. Of Bravely Default. They've talked about it. The devs had even said that they would love to port the game to a console.
It's already on a console. A great console.
A full console system.
Such as the Nintendo 3DS?
No. A non-portable. Dick. I would like to see that. I'd also like to see Sony end up with Microsoft's library.
Okay, see, that's bizarre, and I'm not sure why you're downplaying the most out there wish you'd had.
I don't, because remember, I said, as far as Nintendo's concerned, I figure the NX will fail. And within 5 years, Nintendo...
You said this 5 years ago.
No, I didn't.
I'm pretty sure you have said this once every year for the past 5 years, that in the next 5 years, Nintendo's going to be a software-only dev. This is every year. Nintendo will be dead in 5 years, and whoever the current US president is going to be assassinated. These are your 2 yearly predictions. For the president's one, it's always after they get elected. Still, I can set my watch by these.
Yes! Let's face it. If Nintendo does go software dev and gets out of the console market, at least as far as TV consoles versus portables, Microsoft is not going to be the one that they go with. They're going to go with the Japanese company, and it'll be Sony.
Yeah, I realize that, but how cool would it be if it wasn't? That if Sony went VR and Microsoft went, we're just buying Nintendo. And hey, look at this. Now we got portable systems to connect to the one.
Yeah, no, any goodwill that Microsoft has kind of earned over the past year or two is being destroyed by their Windows nonsense.
What is up with Microsoft just building up a ton of goodwill with quality software and hardware, and then just shitting it away with the boneheaded decisions of their executives? It's like, let's make one of the most beloved consoles ever reign for 10 years, and then let's just shit all over gamers with the one. And anytime they have questions to make it easier to access, we just tell them to fuck off. I still to this day cannot believe Microsoft was that fucking callous.
Mm-hmm.
And with the Windows 10 thing, they've released probably the best version of Windows to date in Windows 10. It's great. It's streamlined. It has less of a memory footprint than ever. It's fucking easy to use and configure. And then they do this garbage about its whole privacy. Like, the privacy setting things is one no-no, and the other is they're forcing people into it. Like, my brother got upgraded to Windows 10 without his knowing. I already told him I can put you back on 7 if you like with my many, many Windows 7 product keys. Kind of sucks that Microsoft did that to you, though.
Well, what I love is their most recent boneheaded move where the pop-up comes up. Do you want to upgrade to Windows 10? And hitting the red X is a yes.
You read the headline and you didn't read the story. That's not what's happening. It's still grimy, but that's not what's happening.
Really?
What it is the pop-up says that the upgrade is scheduled for a certain time. And since it's already scheduled, hitting the X is not canceling the schedule. You can still go and tell it not to do it. You just don't do it by closing that window. Just some chucklefuck fucking reporter decided to make that the headline, and people are reading that, and that's what they're taking away from it.
Okay.
Don't misunderstand me. It is still monstrously fucking grimy as shit. And this is coming from someone who uses and likes Windows 10. Why are you forcing people, Microsoft?
Yeah.
They're good at pissing away goodwill. They're good at being like, they're good at, on one hand, being so fucking awesome, and on the other hand, slapping you. Like
I haven't turned on my Xbox One since we played Gears of War last.
Sure.
That's been 2 months?
You're probably going to turn it on again with 4. You have to, because that's the only way I'm going to play it. I'm not buying a one just for one game as much as I love Gears of War.
That's my point. I bought the Xbox One for a few games.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, 2 of those 3 games haven't come out. And the 4th I just decided not to buy, Halo. But Crackdown still isn't out.
Could you imagine if Microsoft bought Nintendo the roster for the next Smash Brothers game?
Or if Sony bought what it would be. I think Sony has the better licensed characters.
No one's arguing that. However,
you just want to see Gears of War characters in freaking Smash.
Shut up.
That's the only reason you're saying that is because you want freaking Phoenix in freaking Smash.
Fuck Phoenix.
You also want the Arbiter.
I want Colin Baird. We already got the Arbiter and Killer Instinct. I'm willing to take that.
Oh, goody. He's in a piece of shit fighting game.
It's a good fighter.
Really isn't.
No, it's actually really good. It even has all the things Dave wants. You can break out of combos.
We played it a couple times now. No, don't like it.
Sure, fine. But I mean, it's still solid. Would I like to see it in a Smash game? Sure. Do I want the next Smash game to be more like Pokken Tournament? Yes. Because that game is like Tekken meets Air Gates, but with Pokemon characters. The only thing that's a big turnoff for me is the fact that it's Pokemon. Otherwise, it's Tekken meets Air Gates. It's super good with assists and far and close range combat styles for everyone. It's super good. In addition, it fucking punishes rage quitters better than fucking Street Fighter V.
Well, that just highlights Capcom's short-sighted views on things. I mean, how you don't have a system introduced day one to... They quit, they lose. There. Problem solved.
You're done. You're done. You're basically done if you do that.
There's no system needed. You quit or you disconnected, you lost.
Give each character a little concede animation.
Yeah.
That's one of the best things about Hearthstone. I don't feel cheated when someone concedes on me, and I'll concede sometimes if I see the match is lost.
Yeah.
Because it's not Street Fighter. There's some situations you just cannot come back from in Hearthstone.
Mm-hmm.
And every character has something they say, and it's character appropriate. Gul'dan will be like, "You win this time." And another character, I think it's Rexar, he'll be like, "Masterfully played. I concede." You know?
Any games you're looking forward to from last E3?
Oh, God. I can only really talk about the games I'm looking forward to, period. And that list is very short, because I don't do the whole follow a game for too long thing anymore because it could be 3 or 43s you're looking at the same game, right? The other thing is that a lot of the times these days, when I find a game I like, it's either something I didn't know was coming, like a sequel to a game I didn't know was coming out, or it's a surprise that just kind of, I found it on Steam and I'm like, oh fuck, this looks good. Yeah, let's play this, like Enter the Gungeon. Honestly, it's a really, really short list. It's a really short list. Gears of War 4 is one of them, and not enough for me to buy an Xbox. I'll play it here, with you. And, there is another one, but I'm not remembering exactly what it was. It's right on the tip of my tongue, too. Final Fantasy 15, but that's not the one I was thinking
Oh,
of.
surely you're looking forward to The Last Guardian.
No, fuck that noise. Final Fantasy 15 is one of them, for sure.
Yeah.
There was another one, I think it was by Concept. The game with the
Recore?
girl and the... Yeah, Recore! Is that still even happening?
Yes.
Okay, good.
That was actually one of the ones I was going to bring up.
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot of my games are RPG / old RPG licenses being given new life. So, I'm looking forward to, I think there's 3 games from the Dragon Quest line that are coming out. There's Dragon Quest XI, which is a full-fledged next-gen RPG.
Uh-huh.
There's Dragon Quest Heroes 2. And one that I never thought we were going to get. There's a Dragon Quest game that was it's called Dragon Quest Builders, which is kind of influenced by Minecraft, but not in the same way. You actually do build up environments, but you're actually rebuilding towns kind of thing, versus just arbitrarily digging and...
So it's already better than Minecraft.
Yes, it is. I am looking forward to Final Fantasy 15. I'm also looking forward to Final Fantasy... I don't think it's called Explorers. It was another PlayStation 4 game that they're bringing out, where it was the chibi-eyed versions of characters.
Crystal Chronicles?
No, not Crystal Chronicles.
Record Keeper?
Don't insult
Brave
my intelligence.
Exvius? That's a mobile game.
No, it's not a mobile game. It's a PS4 Final Fantasy.
I hope it's totally not even a Final Fantasy when you find it.
We even talked about it last year. World of Final Fantasy.
Oh yeah, World of Final Fantasy. Is that the one where it's like they're playing through the history of the games or something?
Something like that. From the screens I've seen of it, it looks interesting, but we weren't getting any details. So I'm only basing it off of the little bit we've been shown. Whether we get more information at this E3 and it blows me away and I stay interested, we'll see. So we've got that. I'm hoping for a new announcement for a new Xenoblade game.
Oh, that reminds me. Guilty Gear Xrd Revelator.
But that comes out right during E3.
Upcoming.
Fair enough. Fair enough. There are a number of RPGs coming out from different groups. Some that I know you have no...
This is a podcast, Dave. It's not about you talking to me. It's about you talking to our audience.
We've got a couple new Tales games coming out.
Including the first one with an actual female lead.
Yeah.
And not a female co-lead with a male either.
Really?
Yeah, it's the pirate girl. I don't even remember her name. This is how important this is to me.
I know the last Tales game you could play as the girl or as the guy.
They were male and female leads, but this new one, she's legit straight up the protagonist.
Cool. I see. I haven't really gone into playing them myself, but I watch my roommate play it every now and then, and interestingly enough. What else? We got a couple new...
You're probably looking forward to Star Ocean.
I am, and I'm not. I've been replaying Star Ocean 4 recently.
You poor fool.
And, you know something? Between the combat system and everything else, I don't mind playing it. It's more the characters that a couple characters I'm not enjoying on the PS3 version. But that's besides the point. I wanted to get back into it a little bit. before the next game comes out. I like how it looks. I really do. I just don't have any faith that it's going to do anything new for the series. And because it's put back in a period between, I think, 2 and 3, unless they're going to outright eliminate 3's story from the series.
Which wouldn't be a bad thing.
Which wouldn't be a bad thing, because it wouldn't be a fucking virtual reality game. Yeah, it comes out, next June? End of the month. Well, sorry, we're still in May, aren't we? Yeah, we are. So, end of June it comes out. I'm getting it. I pre-ordered it only because if you pre-order it, you can change the battle music to a couple of the Valkyria Chronicle games. Oh, I'm also hoping to hear about the new Valkyria Chronicles, Valkyrie Profile games. Sorry. I want to hear more about this new Valkyrie Profile game that has been mentioned with no new video or character art yet, but we've heard some ideas of the story, and I want to hear that from Square Enix this year.
Cool.
Wow, a lot of what I just said is coming out from Square Enix.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also interested in the I am Setsuna?
I'm Setsuna, yeah.
Yeah, okay, I got it right. From what I've seen there, looks neat. Is it going to be good? Don't know. We'll see.
I know that I saw characters using X-Strike in it, in a screenshot.
Mm-hmm.
I hope this doesn't mean, though, that Masato Kato has anything to do with it.
Let's hope.
If Masato Kato has anything to do with this game, I'm not in. I have wasted hundreds of hours of my life that Masato Kato, as far as I'm concerned, owes me. And so far, he's not responded to my letters, or my stalking, or my taking pictures of his penis. And
Gross.
he better, or else I'll continue to do these things and nothing more severe than that.
Recore also interests me as far as Xbox goes.
Yep. Recore.
I'm also interested in the kind of Tomb Raider-ish mech hunting game that they showed last year for the PlayStation. That was where she went hunting what we thought were going to be elk, and she ended up going after this giant robot dinosaur thing.
Yeah. I forget the name of that, but I know what you're talking about.
Yes. I'm looking forward to that, because that is something that maybe late this year / beginning of next year. So I'm hoping to see a lot more information on that one, because the video that they showed, which was actual gameplay last year, was neat. It's just, have they built a game around this?
Uh-huh.
I'm predicting we're going to see more Skyrim / of that license from Bethesda.
The Elder Scrolls.
The Elder Scrolls games. Because they did say they're going to go Fallout, Elder Scrolls back and forth.
Like the world's worst seesaw.
Oh, shut up. So I suspect we're going to see that, as well as we'll see an announcement for a Doom expansion. As far as EA goes, who gives a fuck what EA does?
I didn't even ask you about EA, so now I'm suspicious. What is it about EA you're looking forward to?
That's just it. Nothing.
No, come on, Dave. Be honest with me.
I don't play... Oh, that's Ubisoft. Yeah. Damn it. Yeah. There is one game that EA's doing that, of course, I'm looking forward to.
Of course, Dave. Go on.
Mass Effect Andromeda.
Well, there you go. So you love EA.
No.
You want to have EA's babies?
No. Not at all. I kind of hope that EA sells off BioWare, and BioWare can go and do its own thing again. But yeah, Mass Effect Andromeda is probably the only license from EA I'm looking forward to. Ubisoft can go fuck itself, because they make the same game over and over again. Who's left? I believe Nintendo when they say they're only bringing freaking Zelda to the show this year. Because what else do they have? They didn't have third-party support to begin with for the Wii U. So there's nobody that's currently like, oh, wait, we're bringing a new game to the Wii U. It's like, there weren't games to begin with, so nobody's on the edge of their seat, like, ooh, what else is coming up for the Wii U?
It's just, it's a bizarrely boneheaded move for them to talk about how this year's a dud for the Wii U. How cool would it have been to see more DLC for their current games?
Well, and that's just it.
Mario Kart 8 DLC and more Smash DLC by themselves would keep your Wii U sales going.
Yeah, like, give me more tracks in Mario Kart. I will give you money. The fuck?
I want to give you money. You won't take it, Nintendo.
I could give a fuck about Smash Brothers. Smash Brothers for me was always a group game to play.
Yeah.
If the group got together again, I would totally play it, but outside of that, I don't care. And I own the fucking game.
Sure, but I'm talking more from a continuing to sell system standpoint.
Oh, sure. Like, they could have put out more games. It's just, I actually would argue that they shouldn't even bother with a Wii U version of Zelda. They shouldn't, because the last time they did this back with the GameCube / Wii, all that happened was the GameCube held back development for the Wii version.
The GameCube was the better version.
Okay, look. I get it. I do. I own a Wii U version of it without motion controls, and it's better, okay? But it did look better on the Wii.
It looked very slightly better, Twilight Princess did. Very slightly better.
With the component, it looked better.
With the component on the GameCube, it looked about the same.
It didn't.
It
really didn't.
It really did.
But they outright admitted afterward that, yeah, they had to hold some things back because they were still doing 2 different versions. Don't do that this time. Just say, fuck it, this will be a system seller for the NX, and go all out on the NX. Do not do 2 versions. And I'm hearing rumors now of a new portable from Nintendo.
See, I always thought the NX was going to be a hybrid portable TV thing.
I hoped for that, but that wouldn't make financial sense in Nintendo's eyes.
Man, just buy them, Microsoft. Buy them, make your system able to play Wii U games. Oh, God. You want a coup? That's a coup.
And then, I mean, that's as far as all the consoles go. I did find it funny that I think it was one of the companies, it might have been either EA or Ubisoft, decided to do their own show this year. Instead of doing E3, they're renting space nearby and doing their own. So whichever group isn't coming to regular E3 is now going to be done by a conglomerate of PC devs. Now, last year's PC dev thing was actually, it had a couple interesting things, but my God, shut up.
It was mostly, look how much better than consoles we are.
Yeah.
PC Master Race guys are the dumbest people.
I say it jokingly, but...
I know you do. There are people who say it unironically.
Honestly, yeah.
And these are the dumbest people.
I'm hoping for less of that this year, and more of, hey, these are all the cool games that are coming to PC only. The fact that that PC gaming is actually having a part of the E3 showcase, I think is awesome, because there are a number of games that never come to consoles. It's a mistake in some ways, but still, let's showcase these games. I mean, when was the last time you saw a Civ game? I'm not talking Sims, I'm talking like...
No, Civilization.
Civilization, SimCity.
The last time I saw one was when I had my weird Civ, thing that I had to get out of my system. And outside of my system, I'm man, I really hate the fact I bought these fucking shitty games.
They're fine games. Anyway, there's a large number of PC games that should get some actual sales and be shown off at E3. Hopefully we see a little bit more of that as well.
Sure.
And not just for the whole PC Master Race bullshit. How much of this show this year do you think is going to be completely done by VR?
Folks, we'd like to hear from you. Can't we just end the show here before I have to answer that? I hate this. A
quarter, a fifth.
Shut up.
Half.
I want to split people in half.
It's half, isn't it?
Probably have. It's probably have. This is fucking bullshit. We live in a bleak, horrible future.
It's okay, Carlos. Hopefully it'll only be a couple more years until you have to come in and save me and...
I'm not saving you. You're dead. You're dead. If you take anyone with you, I'll go in, I'll save them, and you're staying in. I'm going to... Oh, we're going to make sure, because before I go in, I'm coming over to your place, and I'm pulling the cable out from the back of your head. Like, it's just... Gonna be in the hospital, gonna look left, look right, and then slit by Dave's throat. You still exist in the game, I'll give you this hope, and then I'll just leave you in there to rot.
You wouldn't do that. I know you wouldn't.
I might bring you back into the body of some kind of cripple. Jesus H. Christ.
Wow. Carlos, have some sensitivity.
I need to stop getting on your case for that, because I'm clearly a monster.
We will be doing a... not live show for the E3 presentations, but we will be watching their show after they've happened.
Probably an hour or so after they happen. And then I'm going to try really, really hard to get those podcasts out that evening.
So we will have a same day.
We'll have
podcast.
day-to-day coverage for a couple of those days.
Yeah.
And if there's anything in E3 you want us to keep an eye on, just let us know. Go to twofatguystalk.com. Go to send voicemail. Anything else we need to chat about?
No.
All right. twofatguystalk.com is your home on the web for this, whatever this is. And our other show, Carl's and Dave Anime Rave, is carlsanddaveanimerave.com, which just goes to that site, but to its Anime Rave tag.
Tune in next time.
Bye.